Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive tech battle that's raging in one of the world's most promising markets. It's a really fascinating story about giants, scrappy local heroes, and some incredibly expensive mistakes. So, let's just start with a puzzle. How on earth can a company with pretty much unlimited money, the best technology, and a proven playbook, how can they struggle so badly to win?
Especially when you're looking at a market that seems like it was practically tailor-made for an e-commerce boom. I mean, the potential here is just absolutely off the charts.
And this right here, this tells you everything you need to know. On the left, you've got China's population, which is aging. That incredible growth engine, it's starting to slow down. But then look at the right. That's Indonesia. It's a massive youth boom. We're talking about a market that is expanding at lightning speed.
This massive demographic shift is exactly why Chinese tech giants, like Alibaba, are so desperately on the hunt for their next big win. They absolutely need new markets to keep that growth going.
So, this population bonus period, think of it as the secret sauce for crazy fast economic growth. China's already had its turn, and that's what's pushing its biggest companies to look overseas, with their eyes set squarely on Southeast Asia. And so, Alibaba made its move, a big one. In 2016, they bought Lazada, a huge player in the region. And just to show everyone how serious they were, they put Peng Lei in charge, one of the company's original founders, a total legend, sometimes called the financial empress. This was a huge deal.
But here's the thing. Alibaba wasn't just walking into an empty field. No way. They were stepping onto a turf that was already full of smart, aggressive, and really well-connected local competitors who knew the game inside and out.
Just look at a company like Gojek. It started out super simple, right? It was solving a very local problem, app-based motorcycle taxis to get around Jakarta's insane traffic. But this is where the genius comes in. It didn't stop there. They figured, hey, if we can move people, we can move packages. And if we can move packages, we can deliver food or groceries, or we can even send a masseuse to your house. It went from just one service to this all-in-one super app for your life.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. They also solved another massive local problem. See, less than half the people there even have a bank account. So what did Gojek do? They turned their drivers into a human ATM network. You can literally just hand cash to a driver to top up your digital wallet, or you can get cash out from them. It's an absolutely brilliant innovation.
And then you've got Shopee. Now these guys were backed by Tencent, Alibaba's biggest rival, and they just launched an all-out marketing war. We're talking ads plastered on every bus, every highway. They hired local celebrities. And this was the killer move. They ran these insane loss leader sales, selling stuff for less than one single US cent. They were basically buying customers, and it was working.
So while all these local companies were innovating and moving at lightning speed, the giant, Alibaba, was really having trouble just getting its feet on the ground.
The problems, it turns out, really started from the inside. Over at Lazada, the kind of relaxed European startup vibe just smashed head-on into Alibaba's notorious 996 work culture. Working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. All of a sudden, Mandarin became the language in key meetings, not English. The original team felt totally pushed out, and they started leaving in huge numbers. It's such a classic story of an acquisition where a culture clash ends up being just as damaging as a bad business plan.
And the results, well, they speak for themselves. You can see here as local players like Shopee and Tokopedia saw their traffic just skyrocket, Alibaba's Lazada just flatlined. All that chaos on the inside was starting to show up in the actual numbers.
But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, shows this disconnect better than this one disastrous sales campaign they planned for Vietnam. The idea was super simple: sell a whole bunch of cheap Chinese toilet paper. Okay, so what could possibly go wrong with that, right? It's a basic product, the price is low, it seems like a total slam dunk. Yeah, well, they missed one tiny but absolutely crucial detail. A lot of Vietnamese homes don't use toilet paper. They use handheld bidet sprayers, sometimes called bum guns. It's such a small cultural detail, but it reveals this massive strategic blind spot. They were trying to sell a product to a market that, didn't really need or want it.
So just when it looked like the fight was between Alibaba and these local champions, a brand new, incredibly powerful player just walked onto the field.
That's right. ByteDance is taking its insanely popular TikTok platform and jumping straight into the e-commerce war. With that massive, super engaged user base, it's a huge threat to absolutely everyone in this market.
You know, the really wild thing is, this whole situation, this story of a foreign giant trying to conquer a local market, it starts to feel strangely familiar, especially when you look back at Alibaba's own origin story.
Take a look at this famous quote from Alibaba's founder, Jack Ma. This was his rallying cry way back when his company was the small, local crocodile fighting off the American shark, which was eBay, in his home market of China. And he won because he knew his home river better than anybody else.
And that brings us to our final thought, and it's a big one. Has the giant killer from 20 years ago turned into the new, clumsy giant? Is Alibaba now the shark swimming in someone else's river, about to be taken down by a new generation of local crocodiles who know those waters way, way better?